Here in our community, there is a foster care crisis, and it's happening right here under our noses.
Currently, we have just 7 open homes, but that's serving 32 children in the community. It was a foster parent at the time talking about how a 3-year-old was sleeping on the floor of the DHS office. And at the time, we had a 3 and a 5-year-old. I couldn't help but think, what if that was my child?
I was placed in foster care at 10 years old, and I was in and out until the age of 13. And unfortunately, I was not able to stay in the community, so that impacted me quite a bit.
They're already having to spend time away from their families, and the disruption of changing school, the disruption of losing friends, losing other adults that you have a positive connection with, I think can be pretty traumatizing.
The first home that I was in was actually a group home. I wasn't actually allowed to do any sports or any extracurriculars. I had to ride the bus to and from every day. It was very repetitive. And then after I had left that home, I was placed in a home here in the community. It was actually my 4th grade math teacher. It was completely different because they already knew my name. I didn't have to tell them what toys I liked or what I was learning in school because we had already knew each other.
Because of the call, we have been able to bring awareness for the need for children affected by foster care.
Children like myself wouldn't have been able to experience a loving family like I was able to.
Without the call, I think we would have felt like we didn't have an anchor point. The call house, the call mall, the call support groups, all of them provided a sense of connection to other foster parents that might be going through the same things. We received training that without the call we would not have received.
We would have at different points said, we can't handle this alone. This is just not something we can do. But with that support, with that community around you, the questions get answered, the barriers get smaller, the stress goes down, and it just becomes a greater possibility.
Before we had the call in our community, we were having visits typically in our DHS office. It's a very small room. With the call, we have 2 houses that we can utilize for family time. They can do things as a normal family, cook and eat together and play.
Just the past 3 years alone, we have had the opportunity to host over 170 family visitations to just facilitate that relationship between parent and child.
The difference is with the call is it totally changes the trajectory of their lives because you put them in a godly basis. They'll look at me and say, I've never been to church. This is exciting. I've never been to a BBS Bible school. It changes their life in the fact that they acknowledge that they're a child of the King.
I was 12 years old at the time, and I was staying with a family here. Their family, every summer, they go to church camp, and that I was going to be a part of it, and I did not want to go at all. I had never been introduced to Jesus. I had never been introduced to that church environment. I had gone all that week, and then Saturday, remember, it was talking about heaven and about how He loves us like we're His only child, how we're God's creation and we're made perfect. So I got saved because I was so excited to know somebody that could love me for me. I had a greater purpose. I had a bigger meaning, and that made a huge difference in my life.
The faith-based programs are all about restoration, not only just for the child, but for the families involved.
Since being reunified with my biological parents, my life has been completely different. My dad is actually now a pastor at a church in this community, and we always get to worship together. We get to do the things that I didn't necessarily get to do growing up, but we have been able to make up for that here in the now. God can just use these kinds of ministries to educate families on how to be families.
If you've ever felt a little tug that says, I want to be involved somehow, you don't have to jump both feet in and get a placement the next day.
This need never goes away, so we always need more families. We always need donors to step up and to help us go forward and continue this mission. We still need volunteers. We still need churches who are willing to partner with us and to come together as a body of Christ and to show the love of Jesus to these kids and these families who are hurting and who just need to see Jesus in us.